All right, everybody. Hi and welcome. As we've said now maybe multiple times, and as you see my name on the screen, my name is Fadi Toma. I'm the Associate Director for Marketing and Recruitment here virtually at the International College of Manitoba on campus at the University of Manitoba. I'm joined today, and I'll start because she's right here, with Dr. Laurie Doan. So I will give you a little bit of time to introduce yourself. Hi, Laurie.
Hi, everyone. You want me to introduce myself now, Fadi?
I'll do it in a second once Arlette
Okay.
joins, and I'll just start talking about ICM a little bit.
Sure.
So as we've mentioned already, there's a Q&A button, there's a chat button. Use both to ask me questions. And there we go. There's the other Fadi Toma, and there she is. Hello.
Now it works, but I would like to type in your names, Laurie.
Yes.
And
Arlette.
Arlette.
Arlete. Perfect.
Is that correct? Okay,
that works. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
So Arlette, I'll pass it to you in a second. I'm just going to introduce ICM a little bit. So everybody on the call with us today is probably wondering what we're doing. There's 3 of us here from Winnipeg. The International College of Manitoba was started close to 12 years ago. And we started as a pathway program into the University of Manitoba. So what you may know us as, is a first-year program into a 4-year degree at the University of Manitoba. Now, we offer various things like smaller classrooms, lots of activities. We offer lots of support to international students, but at the heart of it is that we're a soft landing into year 2, 3, and 4 at the University of Manitoba. We offer 7 different programs that students can choose from: science, arts, business, engineering, environment, agriculture, and recreation management is our latest. So there's lots of options that students can choose from. And as we go through our interview today, I'm going to be interviewing 2 of my colleagues, 2 instructors that have been with ICM for quite a long time, and they probably know the programs better than I do because they're really in the classroom day in and day out. So if you have any questions for our instructors, if you want to get an idea of what it's like being in the classroom, this is your chance. Throw your questions in the chat box, the Q&A box. I will ask some of your questions throughout my interview. We'll also ask them at the end. If you have questions about our programs, I'm just going to put here our website in the chat so you can get a chance to go there. The website is very intuitive. We have all our programs there. We also have our application on there as well. And we'll talk about that towards the end. Enough of me, because you'll hear lots of me. I'm going to pass it on to Dr. Laurie Doan. And Laurie, this is your chance in about 1 minute to give us an overview of what you do at ICM and how long you've been with us.
Hey, hi, everyone. I teach psychology at ICM. I teach a UTP1 course and a UTP2 course in psychology. And I have been with ICM for 10 years this month. This is my 10-year anniversary this month. So
that's
great to meet all of you virtually.
Thank you, Laurie. And you brought 2 good words there, UTP1, UTP2. UTP1 is our foundation program. UTP2 is considered our first-year program. So we do have a foundation program. Again, if you go on our website, and I'll talk a little bit about foundation later. But I'm going to pass it on to Ms. Arlette Santos because you teach in the foundation program. So go ahead, take it away.
Okay, so yes, I do. And I have been with ICM since September of 2011. So not quite as long as Laurie, but I guess not that far off, right?
Yeah.
So I teach various different courses. They're all to do with writing and English and reading skills. So I teach AES, which is a language learning class. So if a person's level of English doesn't meet the minimum requirements, then you'll probably have me as your teacher. And if in the other courses that I teach, which is ESW and ESR and ILS, those are quite different too. So ESR and ESW are really preparatory for basically all your courses. That's what it is. And ILS is kind of a soft landing course to help you adjust to the new educational system that you'll be to navigate as well as, you know, the city and the country that you've chosen to kind of come to.
Awesome. And one of the questions in the chat is if our English level meets the minimum English requirements, do I need to take some of those English classes? And the short answer is no. With the flexibility of ICM is that if you meet the minimum English language requirements, you don't have to do that. But if you don't, we do have a path for you as well. So that path would be taking English plus some academic courses to at least get you through. So that's a great question. All right, so I've given you a little bit about ICM. We threw out a bunch of acronyms there, UTP1, you know, UTP2, AES, ILS. So, you know, there are various courses that we offer to students and specifically to international students that we can, for example, with ILS, that course ILS, we can kind of give you that soft landing into university life. Now, I'm going to step away from that a little bit, and I'm going to go to Lori, and I'm going to ask, from your experience of teaching with ICM, what would you say the 3 things students benefit from choosing ICM, choosing this pathway program that's on campus? What are 3 things that they're getting out of choosing our institution?
Sure. Well, I think that you said it when you said soft landing. ICM is, you get quality education, but you get it in an environment. So for example, our foundational UTP1, when you are, and I teach a course in UTP1 and our Let Teaches courses there, you are getting the chance to learn how to be a student, a successful student, in an environment where you're getting specific support as international students. So there's a very strong sense of community at ICM, both with the students, but also with the instructors and the staff and the administration. And I have to tell you that since we've gone remote, as an instructor, I've received incredible support from the staff at ICM and the administration so that we can give a really quality program to you guys. And if your instructors are getting that kind of support, they're only going to be able to support you better. We have a fantastic student advising team as well. So community is really important, quality education. My UTP2 courses, which are, is the intro psych, are equivalent to what you would take with me on campus at the University of Manitoba. You're getting exactly the same evaluations, the same content. So it's totally transferable that way. Going back to the idea of community, I think the 3rd thing is Manitoba. So Canadians, we have a reputation for being friendly and polite. And, you know, if I do say so myself, I think Manitobans excel on that. It's on our license plates, friendly Manitoba. And Winnipeg is a city with that kind of small town feel, in all honesty. It's a really great community in Winnipeg itself. Lots to do when we're not in all kinds of shutdown over the pandemic, and even lots to do, I have to say, ICM again, community. Check out our Facebook page and you'll see Fatty with his isolation and some fun things, and you'll get a sense of the community there.
That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, you said it. We're gonna just get you to do marketing from now on, because I couldn't have said it myself. I do have a question in there, and it's can I get into programs at the university while on ICM? So ICM is the first year technically of your 4-year degree. So after completing ICM, so you do your first year classes if you're in the UTP2 program or the direct program, you would complete your 30 credit hours that you would need in order to move on to year 2, 3, and 4 at the University of Manitoba. If you're in the foundation program, you would need to complete that foundation program before you move on to University 1. And the idea with having a foundation program there is that you wouldn't meet our year 1 requirements quite yet. So you would go through a foundation program and then you would be ready for year 1. And that is a segue into my question to Arlette, because you are involved in UTP1. You are involved in the UTP1 program as well. Can you give us a quick overview of the foundation program and how students benefit? I mean, I get a lot of questions of, I didn't meet the entrance requirements to that UTP2, that direct year 1 program. A little bit of a disappointment that I have to go through foundation. Can you give us what the foundation program gives students?
I'm glad you asked that question. You know, a lot of students when they first come and they're in UTP1, they're often a little disappointed that they didn't meet the UTP2 requirements and that they have to do the UTP1. But I've been teaching this for, quite a while, and I'll tell you something, students, after doing the UTP1, they recognize how UTP1 really benefited them. So UTP1, I think the best way to maybe explain about UTP1 where everybody can understand it simply is, imagine, so I'm going to use my area, right? So your writing skills and your reading skills. Okay, so let's imagine that you really love math and sciences, okay? And you're not as strong when it comes to writing, even in your own language, okay? It was just not something that, you're passionate about. Well, you know what? Without my classes, which is ESR, ESW, one is for writing, one is for reading, you will struggle. And I will tell you, I have seen students, right, who may be exceptional, but they would have benefited. They would have benefited had they taken ESR and ESW. So I see students who had the English level, had the academics, met the requirements, but you know what? They would have benefited. Their marks would have been higher had they been, had they had a class like ours in UTP1. So the classes in UTP1, I would say they don't just teach you what you normally learn. So we teach you that. So, I would teach you, so we're not going to just do, for example, reading exercises. No, I'm going to teach you how you need to approach, for example, reading, how you need to look at things the way you do at university. Okay, nobody teaches you that. Nobody teaches you that. I'm telling you, I wish I had had that before going to university. You end up learning these things at university, even if you don't take these courses, for example, but it takes, I don't want to exaggerate, but I'm not really, when I say a few years. So the fact that it takes you time to adjust to these things because they are nuances, they aren't the obvious. It's not something you're going to pick up in a book, right? In a textbook. These are things that you need somebody to point out to you and get you to practice with and encouragement for. And so there's a lot of nuances that aren't covered in your normal curriculum up to grade 12. There's a lot of things that you end up needing to really understand and know in order to get an edge up and to adapt quickly when you do get to university. So I would say that the UTP1 stage is truly kind of like a bridge, I would say, right? So it's taking you from wherever you are and, and what you're missing. So it's giving you what you're missing, but it's giving you other things that you wouldn't get normally, right? And so when you do reach UTP2, you are much better for it. And that's not the only thing, sorry. So that's what the academic part, okay? So, sorry, I talked
I'm gonna have to cut
me off, Addie.
I'm gonna have to cut you off soon. I will have to cut you off just for the sake of time, but I do want you to point out, so that's foundation. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me just finish this. Okay,
Yeah,
the other thing is the fact that this is honestly the safest environment for you to get that, because the grades will not impact your GPA, which is your grade point average at university. So if you happen to, fall off a little bit and not do as well, right? You know what? It won't destroy you. And the great thing also is that if you really do catch on quickly and you are exceptional, so after one semester, if imagine you got more than 70% in each of those subjects, nobody's going to hold you back and force you to do a full year. They have something that they call the jump rule. So if you do adapt very quickly and you are exceptional in your courses, then you're ready. And so ICM is all about getting you ready. It's not about holding you back.
That's great. And that's what our foundation program is there. For those of you on the call, I did put our admission requirements in the chat. And so what Arlette was talking about was that foundation program. So yes, some of our students will need to go through that foundation program. So there is that flexibility versus going direct into what we call UTP stage 2 or directly in there. So that was great. And we saw your passion in just taking care of students. No, that's perfect. That is exactly what we want. We want to show how we take care of students, so that was wonderful. Lori, I'm going to go to you. We encourage students to contact the instructors. And I think your mission, working with us on the marketing team, is really breaking down those barriers early on for both of
Yes.
you, to show students, and I know we have some high school counselors on this call, to show them that their students should be reaching out to instructors. And it's something that we teach students, you know, ever since they were kids. Can you tell me, how would you describe a successful first-year student? Does that mean that they contact you all the time? You know, how would you describe that successful first-year student? What is a successful first-year student in your mind?
A successful first-year student reaches out when they need it, and they reach out early. They don't wait until catastrophe strikes. They don't wait until it's the end of the term and they haven't done any of their assignments. When they're struggling, they reach out early to their instructors. And I know sometimes some students are really hesitant too. And I think I just really want to emphasize that every instructor I've met at ICM, I can say 100% is approachable, wants to help you. That's what we're there for. In fact, ICM has been very careful, I think, who they hire. And if you know, they want people who are passionate like Arlette and who want to be there to support their students, and specifically international students. So you know, it can maybe seem intimidating, but we're actually not very scary. We're very friendly people, and we want to help you. And it's not just us. We also have a fantastic student advising team. Not just they're there to help you with your academics, but they're also there to help you with, you know, if you need help budgeting, or if you know, are having trouble with your roommates or personal problems. We have a community of support there. So successful students, they reach out, and if they don't know who to reach out to, then they ask somebody. And even when they're scared, you know, they reach out, and they reach out early. That's, I think, what makes a difference. In fact, if I can just add, over the years, I've been teaching for a while. So I love first year students, and I've taught, and I'm not exaggerating, I have taught thousands of them between ICM and the University of Manitoba. And my most successful students, my A students and my A+ students, are often the ones that reach out for tutoring. That's why they're okay. They put in the hard work and they ask for the help. So reaching out when you need the help, seeing that as a sign of strength, makes a successful student, I think.
That's awesome. And there's a question in the Q&A from Carla. Once I finish my first year, do I still have contact with my ICM instructors? Will they still support us? That's a great question. So keep in mind, Lori just touched on this a few times when she said she teaches for both ICM and U of M. A lot of our instructors teach for both ICM and U of M. So you may have Lori in year one, which you will, but you can have her in your second year, third year. Do you guys, and I'll go to you, do you see students coming back to you and saying, hey, I'm in my second year? Yeah, all the time.
All the time, all the time. Oh yeah, and they, I love it. I mean, you bump into them, they come visit you, they ask if you're free for coffee, and they don't just come to see us. They actually, don't they get involved, Fatty, with different activities? They're leaders, right? And when Lori was mentioning the tutoring, so I'm just going to mention this. You know, one thing you may not be aware of is that ICM actually encourages students who do really well, but Fatty would know this better than me, right? Because I don't know the details. But they encourage students that do really well to actually volunteer and do free tutoring, right? So for so they get approved, so they would have been really, really strong, like A students, for example. And then, you know, so they know what was required for the course, and they tutor for free, right? In terms of other ICM. So you have that sense of community. So it doesn't mean you're going to have to spend all this extra money tutoring necessarily, right? So there's, because when we say tutoring, sometimes people worry, well, wait a minute, aren't you going to help kids? We help. We help with our office hours. We all have to do them. And so we all have to do office hours to help students. And then we have that too, right? So there's
Yeah, no, that's a great point. We call it peer tutoring and peer advising, and it's free to the students. The one thing that students who have done really well in their course that come back and do this, they get volunteer hours, which they're benefiting from it, obviously, and volunteering is a huge part of Canadian culture. And certainly when you're looking for jobs, they look for volunteer hours. But for students that are currently taking the course, I mean, as wonderful as our instructors are, you guys are teaching multiple classes, you're still seeing students and helping them, but sometimes, you know, we have our office hours open where those peer advisors can be there, where you just need one math question and, you know, you just want someone right then, and that's when you really have those peer advisors helping you. Arlette, I'm going to get you to continue on, and Lori, I'm going to ask you this right after. Decision makers on the call and sometimes off the call tend to be parents. So a lot of our students that we see on these webinars and through the team here, you know, whether it's a student listening to us, they're going to go back and tell their mom and dad, whether we have a mom and dad or a high school counselor. What would you want students to tell their parents? Or if we have parents on the call today, what do you want them to hear about ICM? What's that one thing they need to take away from us today?
Okay, one thing. That's hard, you know, Patty. Okay, one thing. That ICM has been very careful in developing its program in a way that embraces everything. It's holistic. So it's not just academic, it's got the other components which you absolutely have to consider and make sure, you know, wherever you go has that, so that you are well, you know, both, you know, mentally and emotionally as well as physically, because when that doesn't work, the rest doesn't either. So ICM is holistic and very organized. So I think it's a trustworthy, good option to consider.
Wonderful. Great. Lori, one thing for the parents on this call?
When your children come to ICM, they are not alone. We really care. Yeah, their instructors care about them, and not just their academics. We care that they're okay. We check. You were asking about students contacting us. We check in on the safety of our students. And so your children aren't alone.
That's wonderful. Well, I'm going to stop our questions that I have sent you, Arlette and Lori, ahead of time there. And I'm going to open it up now to the Q&A and the chat. And if the team here also wants to facilitate with me, that would be great. We have a question again from Carla about tuition fees. Carla, I put in our website there. So it's in the chat. So if you want to click on it, you will see under the fees tab our tuition fees that are currently there for the UTP Stage 2 program, which is year 1 of the 4-year degree. We're looking at about 19,000 Canadian dollars. So when you look at other Canadian institutions in Canada, ours tends to be one of the lowest, and that's thanks to where we are in the world, where we are in the country. It's more affordable to live in Manitoba, and certainly our tuition costs here are more affordable. We do get some government subsidies as well. For that UTP Stage 1 Foundation program, the tuition fee is $18,000. I should mention UTP Stage 1 is 2 terms, but Arlette did talk about if you end up getting 70% or higher in your first term, we actually reward you by not getting you to complete the entire foundation program, and we move you on to year 1 of your studies into the UTP Stage 2 program. If you're on our website, you might see things like mixed program. Arlette also talked about that. That when we talked about the admission requirements, if your English language requirements, which are a minimum, if we look at IELTS of an IELTS 5.5. If you don't have that IELTS 5.5 for the direct program, we have a mixed program where if you have an IELTS 5.0, you would go into that mixed program where you're doing English language plus your academics in the first term. So, I mean, I think what you got out of the call, and certainly this is why I want Arlette and Lori here, is that we are holistic in our approach. We try to find ways that we can provide that soft landing to students into the university. Our partnership with the University of Manitoba is very strong. We don't operate somewhere off of the university. We're literally on campus. Our instructors are on campus, and we really are, I mean, our main objective is to move students from year 1 to year 2, 3, and 4 into their program. So again, on our website, you can see the programs. I will mention applications. You know, if you go through the application process with the team here, the team knows, the Team Up for Education team knows that we do respond to you in about 48 hours and give you an offer. And so they know that we know the team very well. So for missing documents or so on, you can at least get some sort of offer early on, even if you're in grade 11, for example, you can get some sort of offer that you know what to expect as you come into ICM. More questions. Over to you, team.
Thank you, Fadi. Thank you, Lori and Arlette. Thank you so much for the information. This was a very dynamic presentation. I think it was very clear what ICM means. What I love is that all the international students can be sure that ICM will take care of them, right? That is something that we love here at Team Up for Education. Yeah. And a little in Spanish, este tipo de programas, a los que llamamos soft landing, nos ayudan sobre todo en una adaptación cultural, nos ayudan a sentirnos protegidos, nos ayudan a sentirnos cuidados, y es una adaptación mucho más fácil en términos académicos y también sociales. Entonces, cualquier pregunta que tengan, if you have any question, comment, you can write us to the chat or to our email address is contact@teamupforeducation.com. Fadi, if you can help me with contact email address as well.
Yeah, I'm going to put mine in there as well. So there is mine in there as well. So if you have questions, just send me an email. I'll also be able to answer them there as well.
Perfect. Thank you. Any other question that you would have for Lori or Arlette, Fadi? I don't see any other.
I don't think
right
so.
now.
I think we got some good questions during the call that I asked, so that's great. Carlos says thank you. So I'll end it here from my end because he gave us 30 minutes. So we tried to make it in 30 minutes. Arlette and Lori, thank you so much. Team Up for Education team, thank you again for hosting this series of webinars. We're always thankful for you guys helping us and for inviting us. So obviously, huge thank you to Arlette and Lori and to you guys as well.
It was great meeting everyone.
Have a great day, Lori and Arlette. Thank you,
Thank
Fadi.
you.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you all. Good luck, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Bye.
Thank you. Have a great day. Y a nuestros estudiantes participantes y a nuestros consejeros académicos el día de hoy, pues también muchísimas gracias. Les recuerdo que el día de hoy tenemos una última sesión a las 5 de la tarde, de 5 a 6, en donde vamos a tener como invitadas igual a Memorial University, esta vez presentando acerca del programa de co-op. Estas opciones de co-op son estudia y trabaja dentro de tu área en la que estás estudiando. Entonces es una opción interesantísima, un tema que les va a ayudar mucho si tienen planeado ir a estudiar y trabajar y adquirir la experiencia sobre todo. Y también tenemos después a Ryerson University International College at Ryerson University. Va a presentar Rafael Malagrino. Él es un expertazo en educación internacional. Él también fue estudiante internacional y él nos comparte mucho su experiencia en temas de educación, en temas personales, de dónde buscó casa, cuánto cuesta, cuánto invirtió, cuándo fue el retorno de inversión. Entonces, también muy interesante para que participen en la siguiente sesión. Muchísimas gracias por su participación. Los esperamos hoy y el resto de la semana. También les recuerdo que el viernes tenemos plática con la Embajada de Canadá desde su Departamento de Educación, y el día de mañana empezamos también con pláticas con EduPaz, que ellos ofrecen alternativas de financiamiento para aquellos estudiantes que no quieran descapitalizarse en estos pagos anuales. Generalmente es así en Canadá. Y ellos ofrecen esta plática para que ustedes puedan tener una idea de todas las opciones que existen para que ustedes puedan viajar de manera tranquila desde una perspectiva económica. Entonces, los dejo aquí. Muchas gracias y que tengan una excelente tarde.